Good afternoon. It's McCollum on Business, Friday edition. We made it to the weekend, and of course, headed into that Thanksgiving week as well, starting next week. So appreciate you joining us here. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world, both nationally, a couple local stories for you all, and later on, you missed out on that chance to buy an Olive Garden cheese grater back in 2023. Well, you got another chance out there, and we'll tell you about that coming up here later on in the program as well. And with all that being said, we've had some sell-offs happening this week here on the markets. Lots of fears on the market not getting the Fed not doing the rate cut here coming up in December. Still kind of on the negative side of those thoughts out there, even though a bunch of big companies are reporting major sell-offs happening, including in Bitcoin. Well, let's roll into it with that market watch today and see how it's going. So let's check it out. Woo, screwed up that intro into the market watch, didn't I? Hey, it's Friday, and look at this, folks. I was just so excited to talk about it finally. I hate giving bad news out there. We do have some bad news coming today. We got some layoff notices from some big companies we're going to tell you about. But look at this, 652 points up right now for the Dow Jones, 46,414. S&P 500's up to 82 points, 6615. Nasdaq's up 259 points, 22,337. Then you got the Russell 2K there, 64 points up, 2371 for the Russell 2K here on this Friday. So the sell-off is done, at least for this week here, right? Market's rebounding after that giant sell-off that's happened throughout that week, and everything except for one thing, basically, right, in terms of the big indexes we pay attention to, and that's Bitcoin out there, 84,546. It was teetering on the 80,000 level earlier today and overnight, and that's unbelievable. No numbers here as people are taking equity out. People are getting away from risky investments right now, which is leading, obviously, Bitcoin to falter here, back down to this 84,541 level as we go through this. So I was reading a few stories yesterday and early this morning about Bitcoin and what's happening with it. And that's just basically it. People moving away from risky investments, people who have been in Bitcoin for a long time taking their profits out. As well. And we're talking large institutions here. We're not talking about like you and me taking money out of Bitcoin. We're talking $1 million entities and that have billions of dollars or millions of dollars of Bitcoin stock. They're taking it out. And obviously, that's leading to this big, huge sell-off going on with Bitcoin as we're watching it right now. Stocks that we are paying attention to right now on this Friday. Well, let's look at basically the Bitcoin type stocks out there. Things tied to Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies, right? Everything is been in the red here surrounding a Bitcoin out there. For instance, our first stock, American Bitcoin, they're a digital asset mining company out there. They're down $4 or 4.37% right now. They were down over 8% earlier. It's climbing back a little bit here today. Obviously, a lot of this is in the red with this Bitcoin sell-off that's been happening over the last couple of weeks. Another digital asset mining company is called Riot Platforms. They're down earlier today, about 2% as well. Not sure if we have that stock here to see what they're at now, but they were down about 2% earlier in the day with that one as well. Then you got the stocks, right, that are tied to the cryptocurrencies and Bitcoins, but they're tied to them because they're kind of trading platforms, right? First one we'll look at here is Robinhood. As Robinhood is up, there's Riot Platforms right now. It's down 1.17% right now. So coming back a little bit as well, as it was down to 2% earlier there. So those digital asset mining companies are there. Then you got Robinhood is the next stock we're going to look at. These are tied to cryptocurrencies. They trade other stuff, Robinhood does, but they do kind of go ebb and flow with cryptocurrencies. It's up, but only 0.99% right now. It's come back as well. It was down earlier today. If you are watching us, you see it on that graph. And then Coinbase, which is a cryptocurrency trading platform, is the next stock that we're going to look at as well. That's down today as well, at least earlier today. And it gets rebounded as well, 1.63% as the day has gone on for Coinbase. So These stocks tied to the Bitcoin stocks are also ebbing and flowing, as you can see. And some are getting up into that green, but a lot of them going backwards here over this last week and so as well. So, wanted to kind of look at the stocks tied to Bitcoin here and the cryptocurrencies at the top of the show with these guys, with these Bitcoin's not the only one down. A lot of the cryptocurrencies are struggling right now and going down. Like I said, just people going and taking their money out of the risky stocks out there. Later on, when we come back, we're going to have a look at, and we do have a look at our market watch. If I can talk today. Geez, it's Friday, right? It's actually cold in this building, and I don't know why I'm struggling with it right now. But we're going to go back and look back at Bath and Body Works. Huge sell off for them yesterday. We're also going to look at a company called Enviri. Now, they're a waste management company. We're going to look at their stock. And then Ross Stores reported yesterday. Let's see how the discount retailers are doing as we paid attention to Target this week, Walmart as well, Lowe's and Home Depot. Let's see how the discount guys are doing, at least in terms of Ross Stores. We'll do that when we look at the Market Watch again here coming up. But some interesting government stories that affect business and things to that effect here. Well, that government shutdown has just ended, and we know the air traffic controllers. Some of them were taking time off, some of them worked through the whole thing without pay, and now they're getting the back pay. But there was an idea floated that the people that did work throughout the whole 41-day government shutdown, that they get a bonus. That bonus was, rumored to be around $10,000. Well, we now know only 776 air traffic controllers and the technicians that keep the computers up and everything had perfect attendance during the government shutdown. Only that 776 of them will be eligible and receive that $10,000 in bonuses. That means 20,000 other workers aren't going to get that $10,000 bonus as they took time off during that thing to go to other jobs, make money, etc. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said the bonuses acknowledge the dedication of those few workers who never missed a shift during. And I said 41, it's a 43-day shutdown. I apologize for being incorrect on that by a couple days. That now, not everybody's happy about that. Obviously, if you're not getting the bonus, you're not happy about it. But the National Air Traffic Controllers Association Union, well, they said only 311 of its members are getting the bonus. They have over 10,000 members in that union as well. The union did say these workers with perfect attendance do deserve recognition, but they also say so do the other workers as well that showed up or called in sick occasionally to make money elsewhere. The Professional Aviation Safety Specialist Union, they said thousands of their technicians that they represent worked hard to keep the aging computer and radar system controllers, operating during the shutdown. And they should all be recognized, not just the 423 getting bonuses. So they want to work with the secretary there, Sean Duffy. They want to work with him on how to recognize the other people as well. But yeah, $10,000 for being loyal and working through that shutdown with no pay is what is happening here on that side of the government. Now let's look at another side of the government as well, right? So the U.S. government came out yesterday. They released a new crash test dummy, folks. Yes, this is a new crash test dummy design. Tell me if you notice anything different with that one on your picture. It basically they're coming out with the female version. Let's just sum it up by saying that. So advocates believe that this will make cars safer for women. We now need to come up with one for fat guys, tall guys. I'll tell you why here in just a minute. The Department of Transportation is going to consider using the dummies in the government's vehicle crash test. These are those 5-star ratings. You guys have seen these before, right? And a final rule still has to be adopted to utilize these crash test dummies as well. So here's the statistics that kind of are leading to this. And it's been an ongoing thing for a couple presidential administrations now to develop this. Women are 73% more likely to be injured in a head-on crash. They're 17% more likely to be killed in a car crash than men are. The standard crash test dummy used by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in this type of testing, well, it was developed all the way back in 1978. It was modeled after a 5'9", 171-pound man. Yeah, most of the people don't fall into that category today. People are taller, bigger, way more than they did back in 1978 as well. So the female dummy, plug your own jokes in there. It's look, it's the way they call that's the way they phrase it, right? But the female crash test dummy, it's smaller. It has a rubber jack to represent the breasts. It's routinely tested in the passenger or back seat, but seldom in the driver's seat. Ironically enough, so and here's the interesting thing, right? You guys know this. Majority of licensed drivers are actually women here in the United States. They rarely tested in the driver's seat. The new female dummy, endorsed by the department, it more accurately reflects differences between men and women. Obviously, the big, not just the size differences, but women have different shapes of the neck, collarbone areas, legs, pelvis areas. So, this new crash test dummy here is outfitted with more than 150 sensors as well. Some American automakers have been skeptical that this is something that's needed. They have argued the new model, well, it could exaggerate injury risk and undercut the value of some safety features regarding seatbelts and airbags with these new tests. There's no doubt some of the tests that these cars pass on, they'll either fail now or get bad ratings with this different crash test dummy. And you have to adjust it for everybody out there, so that's out there. Now we need a rule in order to use it, apparently, in the rule system. And I'll tell you this: I was told to be nice and pay attention to my wording on this story. I think I made it through it, right? Minimal jokes in there. Proud of myself. And the person that told me that should be proud of me too. We'll see how that goes. Now let's get to a little bit of more of a serious side of it, right? We're seeing a lot of large companies doing layoffs. The theme seems to want to be getting leaner, be able to react and move around a lot more and be more reactive to the customer bases out there. Well, a couple of big companies have announced layoffs recently as well going into this holiday season. Verizon Communications is the latest one. They're planning to cut up to 13,000 jobs this month here in November. This is all as the new chief executive officer launches an aggressive cost cutting drive. They want to make the company leaner. That seems to be right. Intel's doing that. Amazon is doing that as well. That's the code word of the day in the corporate circles with these layoffs. The cuts were previously reported to be up to 15,000, but they were confirmed here at this 13,000 level on yesterday. They'll primarily impact non-unionized positions across the Verizon company, but the cuts are in the CEO's plans to keep the company competitive in their market space. The CEO had come out and told investors during their earnings call at the end of October that the company is reinventing how it operates, all because they want to make Verizon more agile and efficient. And so that's the buzzword here for corporate America right now: agile, efficient, leaner, etc., more responsive. I've even seen some use the phrase, we want to be act like a small company, even though we're a bigger company. Same type of a thing, being leaner and agile. So this new CEO of Verizon, Dan Schulman is his name. He's the former PayPal CEO. He just took over this job back in October, and he's trying to get Verizon to rebound from sluggish customer growth and mounting more competitive, probably better competition from AT&T and T, and specifically T-Mobile there against Verizon. His primary goal is to drive a profitable expansion of Verizon's customer base across not just its wireless side, which is what most of us think is the main ingredient there in the business of Verizon, but their broadband business as well has been suffering with the attacks here from AT&T and T and T-Mobile as well. So layoffs coming this month in the Verizon side. It's even hitting the charity side here, folks. The ICRC is what they're known as, and you probably heard it as that, but that's the International Committee of the Red Cross, the parent company, the overseer here of the Red Cross. Well, they're cutting about 2,900 jobs themselves. They're even reducing its budget for 2026. Why? They have a large shortfall in donations and everything, and humanitarian aid funding, and donors are shifting their focus toward other priorities, around their life, right? When times get tough, you don't give as much. You protect yourself and your own family, right? In terms of groceries, gas, etc. So What they're calling this here in the space that Red Cross rolls in here, the charity space, they're calling it donor fatigue is the term that they use. Right? People are t- fatigued at donor. I have to be careful my wording here. Are fatigued at giving money out to help people, and more protecting your own. Right? So these job cuts with the Red Cross amounts to about 15% of ICRC's global staff of 18,500. So that organization is based in Geneva, Switzerland. It operates more than 90 countries. It's going to reduce its 2026 budget by 17%. It's going to 1.8 billion Swiss francs, which means that's about 2.23 billion US dollars. Red Cross makes a lot of money in donations, right? About a third of the job of reductions will be made through voluntary redundancies, and basically people that have left, right, the vacant positions will remain unfilled. The ICRC has emphasized that it will focus on preserving its frontline operations in conflict zones. That's where, if you don't know, it provides humanitarian assistance. They act as a neutral intermediary there, right, between warring sides. This follows previous cost cutting measures that happened in the Red Cross, their International Red Cross, back in 2023. That's when they announced a 13% budget cut for 2024 and eliminated 270 jobs at its headquarters there in Geneva. The current financial climate. So this means major donors, things. Major United States is a major donor, by the way, of the Red Cross. United States is reducing their contributions. Global economic pressures are also causing issues here. Tariffs, for instance, for these humanitarian organizations. So not even charities and humanitarian efforts are surviving right now with the donations kind of drying up, at least slowing down here for those companies and everything. And let's do a follow up here on another layoff story, and I promise you we got some good ones coming up here. But Amazon's, they announced that 14,000 or so layoffs last month. Well, we do know now that it basically went into every piece of Amazon's business, right? It went into their cloud computing, the AWS, and it went into advertising, retail. It even affected their grocery stores, those layoffs did. One category, though, was the most of the cuts more than others. And that was Amazon's engineers, of all people, took the biggest hit here in those layoffs. So we get this information here from documents filed in New York, California, New Jersey, and then even Washington, where Amazon's based out of. And so we get these reports there. We pulled them together. Well, we didn't, but Fox Business did. And it shows that nearly 40% of the 4,700 job cuts in those states specifically were engineering roles, which is interesting because Amazon needs a lot of engineers to keep their systems rolling, right? The data was reported by Amazon, and these are those WARN notifications, right? The worker adjustment and retraining notifications that they have to file to those state agencies. So, a segment of the total layoffs announced in October, being 40% engineers, but it's shocking numbers here for Amazon. We know it touched a bunch of areas there. Not all data was immediately available because different WARN reporting requirements, the states put them out a little bit differently. So, just interesting side note there in terms of Amazon's layoffs that they announced and what specific category that it did hit out there as well. And if you're traveling this holiday season, as we go into more government, right, and travel side of things, we just got done talking about air traffic controllers, the technicians getting the bonuses, right? But if you're traveling this weekend, you haven't got the real ID this year, this right next week for Thanksgiving, Christmas coming up. You haven't got that real ID yet. You might want to go get it fairly quickly here because you could get fined now if you don't have the real ID, folks. Yes, this is coming your way. This is from the Transportation Security Administration. They proposed a rule that would charge travelers who lack that real ID. It's going to be an $18 fee at security checkpoints. Yes, they did post this notice yesterday in the Federal Register. The TSA is launching a biometric identity verification program at all of its checkpoints. They're going to screen individuals who don't have a real ID or other suitable alternative forms of identification. You can use a passport, for instance, as well. These alternative ID verification methods, they're time and resource sensitive and intensive as well. And so they want you, they say it costs them more money to figure out who you are if you don't have the real ID. So this $18 fee, well, you could start incurring it when the TSA announces that individuals may register for the alternative identity verification program at tsa.gov. So if you don't want it, you can go to this other system they're coming out with. $18 fee now coming your way. And I don't know if that's every flight, every travel. I don't know the specifics there. The notice didn't say it, just said one $18 fee out there, but obviously another fee coming your way if you don't go get that real ID coming up. So when we come back here at McCollum on Business, one, my chair's stuck on something here and knocking everything off the desk. We'll get that fixed. But then two, we'll finish up this Friday strong market watch. We'll look at Bath and Body Works as an update. Enviri, which is that waste management company, and Ross Stores. We'll see how the discount retailer is surviving here with their reporting. Then we got an update on the Warner Brothers Discovery sale. We know bids are in and who did it. We'll give you that update. Local stories, including Tesla cyber taxis coming to the Valley officially now. If you're an Olive Garden cheese shredder fan and you missed out on those 2023 sales before they sold out, got another opportunity for you, folks. Come on back. We'll tell you all about it here. McCollum on Business. And we're back here, McCollum on Business Friday edition. Looks like we're going to stay fairly dry here on this Friday. Rainstorms coming back in late tonight, early tomorrow as well. So stay dry this weekend. You, of course, just saw the commercial there for The Real Matrix. New episode came out on Wednesday at noon. That'd be episode 9. We see the numbers here at Robat TV on demand. We appreciate you guys that have tuned in and watched it. Surprising numbers, to be honest with you, for those of you that caught the first 9 episodes, and they've grown with every episode out there. Don't forget, it's also out there on a YouTube page for the shows that we produce here at Robat TV on the YouTube page, and of course, free podcast system for The Real Matrix as well. Just search The Real Matrix. It'll come right up for you as well. Join the Angry Fan, or the Angry Patriot, excuse me, on that show, as he gets you, kind of shows you what the government and what's happening out there in the world. Wants to open your eyes out there to the matrix that we live in. Check that out now as well. Of course, the main event is in the can for the week as well. We finished that up live here, 8 to 10 a.m. here at Robat TV, on demand at Robat TV right now. YouTube as well, and then the free podcast system. Uncle Lou came and joined us here on this Friday instead of Thursday this week. He was traveling. We'll get him in next week as well before the holiday coming up. New up there, of course, this week, Bruce Cooper on Tuesday. A local sportscaster legend here came in on Tuesday. Coach Sheehan from Scottsdale Christian Academy yesterday. All up in the interview section of the YouTube page as well. And whole episodes are up there. Catch it on demand at Robat TV. And as soon as we're done here At 11 o'clock, we get it posted up at Robat TV, up on the YouTube page as well. Catch us here with McCollum on Business. Share us with your friends from the YouTube page as well. We'd appreciate it. This is my passion project compared to the other ones, more serious on those sides. So I appreciate anybody that does follow this as well. Is it just me having some fun here? And I hopefully it's entertaining for you out there as well on the business side of the world that we do live in out there. The pit stop is in hiatus right now because racing doesn't start up again till beginning end of January, beginning of February next year. We will do some shows here during the off period. Big lawsuit coming up here, and gosh, just a couple weeks as well. So we'll do some, emergency broadcasts throughout the time frame here a couple times. But that'll be back rolling here in January, February. On demand, old episodes here at Robat TV, at the Pit Stop Talk on X, as well as, of course, the free podcast system at the Pit Stop Talk as well. Listen to the shows there as we continue to grow that show, and lots of fun here as it on demand at Robat TV and on the YouTube page as well. With all that being said, we get all that out of the way. Let's get right back into that Market Watch. It seems like, and I don't have any data on this, but it seems like Fridays tend to be sell-off days lately in the last month or two. Not this week. The rest of the week was sell-off days. Friday is a rebound day here, right? As we look at this, Dow Jones right now up 490 points. S&P 500 up 60 points. Nasdaq's up 135, and then the Russell 2K, the small cap index, 54 points up. The only one still in sell-off mode, Bitcoin. It got down close to 80,000 overnight and early this morning, and it's still down on the day here, 83,762 is where Bitcoin is at. We talked about that a little bit at the top of the show on kind of what's happening with Bitcoin right now as people are just taking their money out of risky stocks. When there's uncertainty out there, and don't make any mistake about it, there's uncertainty in this market with consumer confidence, but also now the uncertainty of a Fed cut coming in December. Odds are you're not getting a rate cut coming up in December. That's leading to a lot of uncertainty. Part of the reason why people taking their money out of riskier investments like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies out there. Stocks we're paying attention to right now as we are wrapping up this Friday edition here. Bath and Body Works. Yesterday we talked about this stock as well. It was down 24.8% yesterday. It's down another 5% here today, 5.09% right now for it. Analysts around, not just analysts everywhere. Anybody that has this stock and they're analyzing it and everything, well, they've downgraded the stock here today based off of those numbers they had yesterday and the big sell-off that's resulted in Bath and Body Works numbers there that they reported. Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, now they lowered their rating on Bath and Body Works big today. So double hit here on Bath and Body Works. They're reporting numbers. Stock down to 24.8% is what it ended up at yesterday. 5% down today with these downgrades. Bath and Body Works, not just their sales numbers are bad right now. Their stock's paying the price for it as well. Now we got Enviri, I think is how you pronounce it. They're a waste management company. Some good news here, 28.37% up for this company. What it's doing, it's agreeing to sell its hazardous and non-hazardous waste division. That division's called Clean Energy, if you've heard of that. They're selling it to a competitor of theirs, Veolia, for $3.04 billion. Man, is there not money in waste management, folks? It's amazing how much money there is in trash out there. Enviri's also spinning off its they're spinning off its Harsco environmental and rail divisions, and they're calling it into a new Enviri, is what they're calling this new company as well. The deal as a whole is expected to close mid-2026, and this stock is up 28.19% with all of this news coming out this morning on this waste management company. Next up, let's look at the discount retailer Ross Stores out there. We looked at Walmart yesterday. We've looked at Target this week and other retailers. And mixed results here from retailers, right? Target had mixed results. Walmart had good results. How's the discount guys doing? Well, 7.07% up for Ross Stores here today. which tells you they had good numbers, right? Actually, better than expected revenue came in for Ross Stores, $5.6 billion. The estimate there was $5.42 billion is what people were expecting. So shares up 7.10% there with Ross Discount as the stores out there having good numbers. Ross also raised its fourth quarter guidance on earnings, and they even said, quote, "We now expect tariff-related costs to be negligible out there." It's the second time we've seen a company redo their forecasting because of the tariff numbers coming down in this last week. Ross being the latest one to do that as well, as those tariff costs not as rough as people were predicting here just a few months ago. Now let's get into some other stories. Before we get to the couple local stories we have for you out there, let's talk a little bit about now, Warner Brothers Discovery. We now know it is official. Paramount, Skydance, Comcast, and Netflix all formally submitted takeover offers for that Warner Brothers Discovery this week. So the deadline is coming up. I think the deadline was today, but it's coming up here shortly if it's not today. And these are just first round offers. Uh, Warner Brothers Discovery will go back to them and say, raise them up, or just get rid of you altogether. Be interesting to see. All this information, of course, comes from those really popular people, those people familiar with the matter. Paramount Skydance and its advisors, they've been weighing on recent days whether to submit a higher bid. Don't forget, they'd already submitted a bid of $23.50 per share. Warner Brothers Discovery did reject that number and tell them to raise it up. So they were debating if they should raise it or not. We don't know exactly what they did. According to those people familiar, well, Comcast, if you don't know, Comcast is the parent company of NBC Universal. But Comcast, Netflix, Paramount Skydance put a bid in for the whole Warner Brothers Discovery business. Comcast and Netflix, well, they only bid solely on the film and the streaming assets of Warner Brothers Discovery. So partial bid from that side as well. So, that would be Warner Brothers Studio, HBO Max, for instance, is all that they bid on as well. Netflix's offer was expected to be quote unquote disciplined with its bid. So that means they're not going to overpay for it, right? They're going to be disciplined, they claim at least. So nobody knows the size, nobody knows the structure specifically of the deal. We just kind of get these overviews here from people in the know. But I do find it interesting. One's a bid for the whole company, one's a bid for just parts of the company, or at least from two companies out there as well. Warner Brothers Discovery is aiming to have the sale process wrapped up by mid to late December. That's how fast they want to move here, right? That was reported a month or so ago. CNBC and other places reported that. Another round of bids is expected to occur within the coming weeks coming up here. So we'll see what happens. This is a big sale here possibly coming for Warner Brothers Discovery. And now here in Phoenix, let's talk a little bit. We know Waymos are out there. Waymos were just allowed to start driving on freeways. Well, Tesla is now officially permitted to test its autonomous vehicles here in Arizona with safety drivers. You have to have drivers in the car, people sitting in the driver's seat, I should say. Tesla's been doing their autonomous vehicles in Austin for several months now. But earlier this week, the Arizona Department of Transportation did approve Tesla's transportation network company permit. So that allows Tesla to do their robo taxis and expand their testing specifically from Austin, Texas, here into Metro Phoenix. Tesla's robo taxis do rely solely on cameras and artificial intelligence, and Waymo's is a lot different. Waymo's relies on a lot of cameras, AI, radar, LiDAR systems. So these are completely two different models of how they kind of drive autonomously out there. So according to ADOT, Tesla would need an additional permit to test or operate the robotaxis without a safety driver. The company has not submitted for that permit yet, right? That's how it happens. Waymo did the same thing when they first started doing it. They came in, there was always a person sitting behind the wheel. Then once they get all that testing done and make sure it's safe, or semi-safe in some instances, they move on from there. But Teslas, you're going to start seeing the Tesla robo-taxis, folks, here in Phoenix, driving around as well. And We'll wrap up this show here and this Friday on McCollum on Business with some good news, I guess. Yes. If you missed out on those grating cheese graters at Olive Garden back in 2023, well, you get another chance here to get your hands on that signature cheese grater. Now, how you get it now is you have to order it via their delivery. You can't go pick it up, etc. And here's the other side. You order via delivery and you order this cheese grater along with your food. Well, you could possibly get a limited edition, a green version of the grater. Yeah, all that for the holidays, folks. It's just I'm sure it's random, right, on who gets the green ones out there. So, Olive Garden, first of all, if you didn't know, they now deliver orders to people out there. They said customers that can also have that cheese grater, 19.99 is what it costs delivered. So back in 2023, the cheese graters were initially sold inside the Olive Garden restaurants. That was the only place you could get them back then. This is the first time that the cheese graters are available for delivery. Olive Garden has slowly expanded its delivery options for customers. They previously delivered catering, where orders you had to have $100 minimum before tax to be catered. The company later launched a partnership with, of course, Uber Eats and Uber to deliver the meals starting in late 2024. So it's expanding. They're expanding it out. They want you to try their delivery services. And if you go online, right, at olivegarden.com or go through the Olive Garden app for $19.99 on your order for delivery, you can throw that cheese grater on there, of course, plus tax. Each cheese grater order will include a block of Romano cheese, no less, folks. Yes. So the green cheese graters, well, they're actually limited edition. I don't know how long they'll last there. But the regular cheese graters at 19.99, well, they're going to be permanently available for delivery and to go as well. So you don't have to go into the stores anymore. You don't have to worry about them running out unless you want that green one. And I read it. I read it as from Olive Garden. I read it as the green one's just a chance for a green one. I don't know if that's luck involved or people are happy if they. What if you don't want a green one? What if I want the white one? I don't know. But it is what it is. Hey, go get your cheese grater, folks. You get a block of Romano cheese too. Whole block of it. Folks, I appreciate you joining me this week here for McCollum on Business. Wrapping up our shows here on this Friday. Everybody have a safe weekend coming up here. Lots of sports going on in the town that we'll talk about on Monday at the main event. And, of course, lots of government and business things happening over the weekend as well. So come back and join us on Monday. Next week will be short with the Thanksgiving holiday, but we'll keep it rolling for you here. We appreciate you joining us. Follow us on that YouTube page. Follow us on the podcast system. On demand at Robat TV as well. For those of you that subscribe, we thank you very much. See y'all on Monday, everybody.